Have you ever found a piece of furniture that you both love and hate at the same time? Well, this one is it for me. It had lots of problems, from water damaged feet to the laminate that was bubbling, weird etched marks into the surface, drawer corners that were scotch taped, edge banding that was coming loose, framing that was cracked and coming apart, and everything was stapled. And don't get me started on the drawers. The drawers were insane. But I do my best to make this usable again, so hang in till the end and let me know what you think of the final results in the comments. Not gonna lie, this was a challenging one. Now here is the carcass, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's sort of sagging in the middle of the drawers. That's part of the reason why they weren't fitting properly. You can see a little bit better if I go close up here. You can see how all this has come away. It looks like it's only been put into the top here with nails. So I'm gonna screw it in to straighten everything up. And I've also noticed down here, there's a crack here that I'm going to have to fix. And some of these, well actually these here are all pretty sturdy. Let's check these ones out. Surprisingly, they're all sturdy. They're not moving, so that's good. But the one thing that's not so great is that all the bottoms here, where are they? Well, here, I can pretty much show you. There's no little plastic guide on that drawer. There's one on that drawer, but it's broken. Let's check this one. That one, the ends are broken off as well. That one doesn't have one. That one, ends are broken, and one of the ends is missing. So I'm gonna have to replace all the guides. Aha! And that's why they didn't glue it, they just sort of shoved some screws in to try to fix this part here. So I'll glue that up. I'm just going to punch a little hole in here so that the drill bites. There, that's good enough. I can see right through, I can see the screw. So I need to put a clamp right here, back it off, put the clamp right here, and then put it back in. Okay, I've just finished putting some screws in here. Before it was just stapled, so the staples were coming loose. So now it's nice and tight and nothing's moving. And now I have to do the same thing with this middle piece here. This middle piece here was stapled again, just with 2 staples in each joint. And basically the whole thing just pulled out. And it was all uneven. This was sticking out further than these pieces, so I've made it all flush here and here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some little screws around the back and use 2 tiny little screws instead of the staples. I just want it to be more solid and firm and square. So, you know, the heavy drawers won't make it sag. Like it was really sagging. That's why none of the drawers were fitting properly. Day one is in the books, and although it's not perfectly straight yet, the inside framing is all nice and tight and square. So the drawers, once we get the plastic drawer guides on them, they'll start to sit a lot better. But even now it's looking better. So day one is in the books. Didn't get to washing it like I wanted to and cleaning it up, but hey, baby steps. This is a view of where the bottom drawer goes. This is the runner that the guide runs along, the plastic guide. And this is just a support piece, I think, just to reinforce and make this piece a little bit more rigid. That's all intact, but yesterday, this one on this side had come out. So that's the centerpiece where the guide is. This is the piece that I was talking about. It came out, I just put it back in and didn't even measure. I just assumed, oh yeah, it came out, I'll put it back in. But what I noticed this morning was that the back there was bowing out. And it's because this here was being, when I put it back in, I guess I put it too far back in and it pushed it out. Now all the measurements of the depth are a little bit off. So what I'm doing is I'm adding an extra support piece into each side and making sure everything's measuring 16 3/8. At some points it was almost 16 and a half. So it was really off. So I'm going to put another support piece here. It'll give the whole piece a bit more rigidity too, because it's not the most rigid piece. So that will help. Okay, let's see if this will work now. Okay, at the end here it's measuring 16 3/8 and 16 3/8. So that means I can put this piece in. I'm just going to put one staple in for it now until I get the drawers all in, and then I'll secure it with another staple, just in case I have to take it out. Better to take one staple out than two. I recently picked up this standing desk, the frame of a standing desk at an auction, and I just added a piece of plywood to the top. It's been a game changer because when I'm working on things, all I have to do is press the up arrow and bring it to a comfortable height to work on, say, a drawer. It's been great. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. That's very brittle. I purchased these on Amazon, and the holes line up perfectly. Look at that. So I'm going to use the same holes and the same screws to put them back. You have to be careful not to drill too quickly, because you can crack them if you put them in too forcefully. This is the shape that all the drawer glides were in. Pretty bad. Some just disintegrated. The little I know about this dresser is that it was made in September of 1975 by a Canadian furniture manufacturer called Victoriaville. This was a freebie which my sister alerted me to because it was sitting across the street from her house, and it was put out in the garbage by her neighbor. Well, I didn't give those garbage men a chance because I flew over there after I received her text and I brought it home. Here's the photo that she texted me. I recognize the unique carvings on the bottom of the drawer fronts as a style of furniture popular in the 60s and 70s called Brutalist. I'll show an example of what I'm talking about. I've never redone this style of furniture before, so I was excited to snag this one. And it's not only the two bottom drawers with this unique design. Stay tuned to the end of the video and you'll see what I mean. Let me show you how these drawers are made. So, here is the front of the drawer. And on first glance, it looks like oak. But it's not oak. It is some sort of laminate or one of those finishes, like almost like a paper finish or a plastic finish that they put on to make look like a certain type of wood. As you can see, the substrate is particle board. The bottom is made out of a piece of masonite. The sides are solid wood, and so is the back is solid wood. And they've put some sort of paper finish again on the inside of the drawer to make it look like it's a wood drawer. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I may just try to shift the color a little bit and just leave it on some of the drawer fronts. I don't know yet. Whoa, that wind is crazy out there. After cleaning and repairing, I moved on to sanding. I sanded all the wood pieces with 150, then 220 grit. All the fake wood drawers I scuff sanded to 150. I was a bit more aggressive with the top because of the bubbling in the laminate, and I used 80, 120, and 150 grit on that. I'm removing the finish from the front of the edge banding, and this is before I realized that part of the top edge was missing. I subsequently peel it off and replace the whole thing with new edge banding. Okay, the start of a new week, and I have just spent the last 3 hours trying to figure out how I am going to make the drawers move in and out and look straight and level and square and all that, because they are currently not. And when I sat in front of it and tried to decide what I have to do with it, I figured out that it's just not in square. The whole piece has gone off square. If it ever was, I don't know. But part of it is because the framing inside is very flimsy. You can see that it's not very thick. It doesn't have a lot of, reinforcements. So I'm going to reinforce the whole bottom of it. And I might even add another leg in the middle just to give it some more support in the middle, because the drawers are heavy. And like I said, the framing's flimsy. So I'm going to see if that kind of helps shore up everything, and I'll take it from there. That's kind of my first step. This. Yep, perfect. Take your time to cut this second board. This is going to be for the side pieces, so I'll put that away for now. And this board is going to fit in the front right there. Okay, I've already made a couple pocket holes on this side of the side piece, and now I'm going to do the other side. What I've done is I've marked the center of the piece of wood, and I'm lining up with the center line on here. So they're approximately in the middle. Doesn't have to be exact. Close enough. There. And I've attached it to my Festo vacuum so it minimizes the mess. And I will put it on. Simple as that. Feels good. You may be asking why I have the dresser on its side and a track up here. And the reason is because I'm going to attempt to cut the feet off. The discoloration here from, I think, just sitting in wetness, I cannot get off. I've tried, oxalic acid, and I've sanded it, and the sanding is just, making more and more of it come off, and it's changing the profile of it. So I've decided it has enough height in the leg that I can cut, the inch off, and it's not going to make that huge a difference to the height of the dresser. So I'm going to cut this off, and then I'm going to cut the other side off afterwards. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because the track does not fit down there, right here. And when you use the track saw, you're always supposed to go in this direction and put the track on the other side that's not being cut off. And anyways, so this is the only way I can think of doing it. It's on here solid. I've got it clamped on, so it's not going to move. And yeah, probably not the safest thing to do, but I'm doing it anyways, and I'm very careful, and it should work out fine. But don't do this at home. And no more water damage on the legs. I've decided to give the top 4 drawers a coat of General Finishes Antique Walnut Gel Stain. This is not a penetrating stain, so it should sit on top of the existing material and just give it a more pleasant saturated tone. And this is what it looks like before I've wiped it down. Right away, the color's night and day better than what was on there, so once I wipe it down, it should look a little bit better. The question is how much of the stain will be left on, because nothing penetrates this plasticky stuff. And here is the after. And here I am removing the edge bending that I told you about earlier. I use the heat gun to loosen the glue, and I remove all the edge banding and replace it with new. I forgot to videotape me putting the new stuff on, but essentially what I did is I just ironed it on, and it was good to go. There are so many decisions to be made when you're doing a piece of old furniture like this. Take a nice look at the top of this. So there was no saving this. There's a couple things that I could do. I could go out and, buy veneer and re-veneer the whole top. I can paint it. I could get some really thin, like 1/8 inch plywood that has a veneer finish to it and apply that. But, you also got to realize how much work it's going to be, how much you could potentially sell it for, and how much your time is worth. And what I've come up with is that it's just going to get painted. I just can't justify putting a lot of money into this. I don't think it's going to make much money and time. So I'm going to show you that you can add paint to something that's started off as a kind of cheap piece of furniture. You could add paint. You can add a little bit of stain to make the fake wood look like real wood. And you can come out with still a really nice piece of furniture. So where it's at right now is I've sanded down the damage that was here. This damage that you're looking at here was just, I guess some moisture got in, it was some bubbling, but I used some 80 grit sandpaper, then 150 after, and just sanded it down so it's all nice and smooth. There's no, when you run your hand over, there's no bubbling. These spots over here, I'm going to add a little bit of epoxy putty to. And once I get everything level, no pits and, imperfections on it, then I will probably apply either a coat of bin primer or shellac to seal everything before I actually apply the paint. And I think it'll end up looking pretty good. And I do have to also add back the edge banding here, which will be painted the same color as the top. And that is my decision and my reasoning behind it. This is great. I get to watch all the World Cup games while I'm working on my furniture. Love the World Cup. Love soccer. But back to reality, I got to fill these little spots here that are missing a little bit of veneer on the drawers, on the bottom drawers. I'm going to put a little bit of wood epoxy in the corners just to fix them up. Here is the side of the dresser, the inside panel that has not been stained. So there's quite a bit of the difference in the color of the stained outer leg area and the inside. And I'll show you the other side that has been stained. It's much more similar, which I like that look better. part. So I resanded that area down, and I'm just giving it another coat of some sealer on it so I can apply another coat of paint. Just when I thought all the repairs were done, I flipped the dresser on its top and find out there's a big crack still left in one of the water damaged legs. So I'm going to fill it up with some glue and clamp it. Now, I don't normally sell the mirrors that come with these longer dressers just because people don't seem to want them. But because this one's got that funky design like the bottom drawers, I am going to refinish it, and I'll give the option to the buyer whether they want it or not. First of all, someone's put a couple of screws on either side of the mirror. There's two over there and two over here. It's to keep a piece on the back. I'll flip it over and show you. But first off, I got to take these off because that's pretty darn ugly. I just got to show you how they put it on. There's the piece of board, and there's the screws just sticking right through the piece of board. I think this redo proves that a piece of furniture, no matter how cheaply it was made or how much abuse it incurs over the years, with a bit of time well spent on it, it can be made useful again. I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. I think it's been elevated a notch by the addition of the mirror. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. Please like, comment, or hype, all those good things, and consider subscribing. It's free if you haven't already. Thanks again for spending the last half hour with me and my furniture, and I will catch you the next time. Enjoy the reveal.